Hello everyone, here is Groskamp here from Team Infinity, and today in this video I want to continue the assembly of the IF18-2. And today I'm with back P, and back P is the clutch, also the motor mount and the pipe spring. So I will first install the clutch on the engine, and afterwards I will install the engine on the car with the motor mount, and I will also show you how I install the pipe. So let's come and have a look. And these are all the parts of back P. So let's start the assembly of the clutch onto the engine. So first we start with the cone, flywheel and the flywheel nut. Hold the flywheel with the big pliers and tighten the nut now. The flywheel has to be very tight. Now I will prepare the clutch weight, and I will use a knife and some wood, and you can cut it like this. Make the surface smooth and flat. Now the flight weight is prepared. For extra tuning you can drill a hole here and put a set screw in, but in this video I will use standard. And I'll put the clutch weight on the flywheel. Next up is the plate. Check if everything is smooth. Clutch shoe and the ring. Now put the clutch spring on. Take the nut. Usually the spring is very tight, so you can't do it by hand, so immediately you use the tool. Now use the tool and tighten the nut. Now check the spring tension, and a good starting point is about 0.3. When the spring is getting used more, you can go up to 1 mm spring tension. Now it's time to take the clutch bell and put the pinions on. First by hand. So I suggest when you tighten the pinion on the clutch bell, you use a 2 mm wrench, put it through, and use a plier with plastic and tighten it. Or you can use this kind of tool for it. Now it's time to put on the clutch bell, and I will also show you how I set the gap. The gap is the distance between the clutch bell and the clutch shoe. Put on the bearing. Put on the clutch bell. Put on the bearing here. Now you measure the distance when the clutch bell is all the way tight on the clutch shoe. When you do that, put the caliper on 0. Now I will add some shims. And now I will check what I have for gap. I measure this distance. My caliper now says 0.57. I would like to try to get it around 0.5 for a start. So now the gap is set, and you can test if the clutch bell moves freely and doesn't touch the clutch shoe. So now I will install the truss bearing, and I will do the end play for the clutch. First I take the screw, take the holder, and I take the shim with the smallest hole. Now I take the truss bearing, and I will put some SMJ Ultra grease on it. Put the truss bearing, put the other shim, and I first will screw it on the engine without the extra shims for the end play. So it's on, and as you can see, this is a lot of end play, so I have to add shims on the outside. So I will take out the truss bearing and I put some extra shim first. Take the truss bearing again. And gonna check the end play again. Minimum end play about 0.2 and this is perfect. So this is the engine with the clutch. So remember the gap around 0.5 and the end play about 0.2 and it's ready to go. And make sure you tighten the screw very well. Now I will put the engine in the car and I will show you how I fit the motor mount to the engine and then after onto the chassis. First I will take the motor mount and I will mount it onto the engine. Take a 2.5 with a ball and screw it on. Do this with all four. Now the motor mount is attached onto the engine. Tighten the screw a little bit, but don't tighten it yet. Put the engine with the motor mount into the car. And now flip the car. Take a 2.5 wrench and tighten the engine mount onto the chassis. Having done that with all four screws, now you check the gear if it's straight onto the spur gear and you tighten 1 and 2 soft and check the play on both gears. If one gear has more play than the other gear, that means that the motor mount is not straight but angled. So try to make the same play for the first and the second gear. If you think the engine mount is aligned perfectly, you can fine adjust the engine screw over here and make the perfect play. Now both gears have the same play. Tighten all four good and also check that those four are also very tight. Now this is almost the end. Gonna install the pipe. We need a pipe spring and the muffler stay and we will fix it onto the top deck. I first will attach the muffler stay onto the post. Not too tight yet. Now I will attach the muffler stay onto the top deck. Put on the engine pipe. Take the springs. Do this with a plier. Very easy. Now I'll put the pipe onto the muffler stay. And now you can fine adjust how much the pipe have to go in or outside. You can tighten the muffler stay here. Also tighten the pipe now on the muffler stay. And that's that. So thank you again for watching my video. I hope this was helpful for you. And as you can see, the car now is almost finished. Still have to do the electronics and of course the final tuning for the camber, the droop, the ride height. So stay tuned for more videos.